Andre Spivey is here with us now. Hello, how are you today?
All right. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you and what is it that you do?
Sure, man. I'm just number one. I'm Andre Spivey, like you said, just me, your average
Yeah.
entrepreneur. But and this particular, well, we do a multitude of things, but what we're here to talk about today is development, community development. What we do mostly in the real estate realm, taking pieces and parcels of land and creating something that's sustainable, livable for the future, not in the
Yeah,
ways that it used to be. But this is something, the concept wise, that is completely different than what people have seen in a very, very long time. That's what we do. We develop real estate, buy land, develop, resell land, resell homes, things of that nature.
yeah, for sure. And you've got a new project called Build City. Is that based on that idea?
Yeah, Build City is definitely based on that idea. So this started. I was starting to look around America and Portugal and all these different places, and around the world there's these different there's ghost towns.
Yeah,
A great history to most of these ghost towns. A lot of them were railroad cities, steel
yeah,
cities when during the industrial age when everything was kind of coming along. And slowly but surely, as everybody kind of got themselves into urban metropolises, some of those towns have disappeared. But now you have all these buildings, you have railroad tracks, you have what used to be small, good sized cities with jobs just kind of sitting there. And I think that there's an opportunity there to revive those in a different, more modern way with different types of energy and things of that nature.
for sure.
And that's where the concept came from.
So, what specific areas are you looking at? Do you have any in mind at the moment?
We had about 10. I can't name them off the top of the head, but one of the first ones
Yeah.
we looked at was Toomsboro, Georgia, which was
Okay.
like outside of, it's like in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. There used to be this really cool, bustling railroad town that just kind of dried up. As it makes sense. I mean, it's capitalism, it's the economy. So as Atlanta and Augusta and Savannah, places like that begin to boom, towns like that somewhat dried out. They didn't quite get the highway system that other towns did. And so that's one of the places we're looking at. There's a couple of spots in Pennsylvania, Florida. There's just ghost towns
Yeah.
everywhere. And there's some of these ghost towns got dry for some historical reasons. If you say like Rosewood, Florida, I don't know if you've ever heard of the story of Rosewood, but it's a very, very tragic story. It was an African American town a little bit shortly, like 30 or so years after Reconstruction. And because of one, racial incident, the town ended up being into a massacre occurred.
Whoa.
People moved out. So one of the big things is talking about revamping areas like that, and Greenwood and
Yeah.
Tulsa, Black Wall Street, all of this. There's these historical connotations and concepts to it that we hope to kind of bring stuff back the right way this time, of course, with a
Yeah.
lot less racism, hate, and green
Of
energy and
course.
solar. Yeah, we got to use Generation Z and the millennials to do something way cooler than what it was.
Yeah. Is there a specific design or theme you're going for? Is it going to be quite modern or something else?
So for specific, let me give an example. One thing we just did was we bought 5 lots in Lake Wales as kind of a mini
Okay.
project. So rather than do what people would normally do with this half an acre of land, which is put like one big house on there, what we want to
Yeah.
do is use kind of zero energy mini houses, kind of encircling each other with a atrium and a mini farm in the middle. So it'll be sustainable for the few families that have those mini homes there. And then it's also affordable for new families because a lot of the issue
Yeah.
younger people is not having the credit or the money to be able to buy their first home. It's kind of stagnant here in the US. So we kind of want to do multiple things at the same time, create sustainable stuff, make the food cheaper because you're growing some of it right there. And the home itself as a startup home is cheaper and you're using zero energy.
Oh, yes. That's always a positive. How did you first start to get interested in doing this?
Well, I'll say I was in the Air Force since 2003. I got out in 2013,
Yeah.
in 2012. But in the beginning of my Air Force career, I always noticed that people didn't know necessarily what to do as, like, let's say, side jobs and things of that nature, or
Yeah.
when they got out. And I was watching a lot of IGTV, and I started to go to school for business and read business books concerning real estate and the economy. And I kind of just got interested in land.
Yeah.
Uh, well, it's not as risky to buy land as it is to try to flip houses like they do on HGTV. So I bought a few lots and were able to flip them. I bought some and held them. And from there, I was like, well, this works for me.
Yeah.
Slowly, I started to get interested in building on the land, leasing land out to people so that they could farm and things of that nature, especially during the recession, that early recession when people started to do community farm. It kind of sparked a lot of inspiration too.
For sure. And have you ever done something as big as Build City before, or is this a big adventure that you're taking a risk with?
This is a risky venture. Yeah. We've taken risk before. We bought an apartment building, but that's not as risky, right? We bought an 18 unit. It was 50% occupied. So all we had to do was maintain that and some single families and collect rent, take care of tenants and be respectful to them and things of that nature. But this is building from scratch. We're talking about building from scratch. And it's not like taking the plans that are normally there, going and getting the developer that'll just, build like in a agrestic type of little houses, little boxes on hilltops over and over. We're trying to do something completely different. So it's certainly risky, but that's what it should be. The great ideas are the risky ones. The normal ideas.
Sure.
Yeah, we need big ideas in 2020. It's crazy enough. So why not have big ideas?
Well, yeah. How long do you think this project will take you?
I think the mini house project in Lake Wales, if we're starting now, probably over the next year, we can have those houses in that particular project. As far as the Queensboro land, that's I think about a $2 million deal you're buying. That takes a little bit longer to buy whole towns because sometimes there's still people that own some of the land and houses in those towns. So you're kind of buying around and developing around them. Gets a little bit political then. So still predict over the next 5 years, these projects come along really, really good. And then hopefully it's a model for other people. Hopefully people say, whoa, that's interesting. We didn't develop like that before. Let's do that now for the future.
Yeah. And how are we able to help with this project? Is there any way that we can help either fund or support it?
Absolutely. Go to the website, spiveylandandfinance.com, and it'll tell you how to donate to the project, how to get involved in investing in the project. Because that's one of the key concepts is we could just go, like in the past, people just go to a loan company or bank. That's what developers do.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing because it pushes development, but at the same time, it was a bad thing because it took community development away from the actual community. Yeah. People forget that when people traveled across country to say, hey, I want to find gold in California, those people were the developers. They found land and they started building the house there. It's a crazy concept to us because we go to places and the houses are already there. But yeah, helping finance us kind of we want to bring that back. The idea that there's these frontiers that are out there, these old ghost towns, and you can go there and buy land and you can develop it yourself instead of it being so cookie cutter. It can adjust to you and you can adjust your footprint to it. So go to spiveylandandfinance.com and check out the ways in which you guys can donate, fund, help, and invest.
And if someone isn't sure about it, what would you say to tell them why they should help with this project?
Because projects like this are the projects of the future. These are the types of projects that force innovation and create the next jobs we need. A lot of jobs have been lost recently. There was a certain type of economy that existed and made sense. Yeah. And regardless of how we try to force it to come back, it isn't coming back. But these are the jobs that we'll be creating in the future. And they will be sustainable and they'll be zero energy. So I would say, depending on who you are, if you're the past generation, don't just think of yourself and how it used to be. Think of how you want it to be for your kids and your grandkids. And if you're the next generation, this is your frontier to become those moguls, those people who control their own destiny. Yes. And yeah, it takes risk, but it's a small risk because we're all pitching in together instead of one person going and getting a whole huge loan. There's all these pieces and all these people with all these great ideas and a small amount of money coming together to do something that the future needs.
For sure. Well, if you're interested in helping, then that's spiveylandandfinance.com, of course. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Andre.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It was great talking with you.